We are live. We're live. Calculator, what's going on, my man?
Hey, greetings and salutations, Mr. 411. Debut of Crossing the Lines 2022.
Absolutely. August 31st, 2022.
Debut of Crossing the Lines 2022.
So great. We had to say it twice.
Yeah, that's right. While the producers is doing that, I just want to welcome everybody. Gonna talk. I'm gonna do a little friendly wager time. We got some lines. I got some historical data. The first week we kind of go away from the deep diving and actual statistics of defense, offense. We're going to go with historical data on the picks for week one of college football.
Absolutely, Calculator. Way to step in there for Mr. 411. Appreciate that. Man, we look, I'm so excited about this. The college football season is here. It's upon us. We had week 0 already, and that was a great warm up to get everybody's juices flowing. And now we're getting into week 1, and that's what we're going to cover today, right, Calculator?
That's right. And see that we wait for week one because that's when a lot of you have more matches to choose from. See, and that's how the more matches, the more you can bob and weave, pick what you want, and go with what you think is best.
Okay. Well, let's get ready for it, my man. Crossing the lines. Here we go. We got a full slate, Calculator.
Yes, we do.
Everyone, welcome to the show. Welcome to Crossing the Lines. He is the Calculator, and I am Mr. 411. And we're about to give you the 411 so you can win your friendly wagers, as the Calculator likes to say.
Absolutely. And people are gonna, I kind of like to go and I always like to give Friday nights are not my favorite nights, but some people like to get, their feet wet and stuff like that. So that's why I try to get a Friday night game in there. So that's why, but we're gonna go in you know, somewhat chronological order, with the exception of the Georgia game. I'm going to put that a little bit earlier on our slate because I know people, hey, you got to put the Bulldogs in there if you're in SEC country.
All right. All right. Well, before Calculator begins, check out the Sports Brothers. The show comes on Tuesdays. Check out the Sports Brothers on YouTube. Type in 411 Sports World on YouTube. Check out the Sports Brothers. Our friend Bo, one of his favorite sponsors, the Panty Platter Boutique. Check out www.thepantyplatter.com. We are on Blackjack TV. Check us out on blackjacktv.net. That's where you'll find all of our shows as well on Blackjack TV. We thank Blackjack TV. And later on tonight, check out After the Game, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as the ladies have a roundtable. And this episode's topic will be about the state of youth sports. So tune in for that. All right, Calculator, let's get back to this sport, college football. And I pass the baton over to you.
Absolutely. Like I said, I want to start off with a Friday game. We got Western Michigan at Michigan State. The line is Michigan minus 22. As you can see, there's some stats up there, the money line and total points. But what I'm going to be focusing on with this particular matchup is Michigan minus 22. Now, yes, Western Michigan burned me last year. I was down on Michigan. I was down on Western Michigan, and Western Michigan had to travel to Michigan last year, and they had a good quarterback. Thought they were going to do it, and they got burned. They're going to stay within state. We're going to have an opening game. So look at these stats though that caught my eye, and the reason I think we can make a little profit on this. Western Michigan is 7-3 against the spread in season openers, last 10 season openers. Western Michigan is 7-2-1 against the spread in last 10 games against ranked opponents. Michigan State, on the flip side, is 1-9 against the spread in the last 10 as a favorite of 20 or more points. That's a perfect storm. We're getting 20 points. Western Michigan fares well within state normally, and it's going to be prime time. They're not going to be bumping up against them. They're going to be, Ray fired up. I like Western Michigan. I'm taking the 22 points and rolling with the Broncos with this one. The historical trends are favoring Western Michigan in this matchup. So go and take the Western Michigan in this game with the 22 points.
All right. You heard it from the calculator. Take Western Michigan plus the 22.
That's right. And people might want to get out there a little early on this one. This could go down to the danger area of 21. So if you can get that 22 points, go ahead and get it early.
Okay, we're gonna get into the next matchup, the Battle of the Carolinas.
Yes,
NC
sir.
State at East Carolina.
That's right. NC State, the Wolfpack, favored by 11. I didn't even know that NC State was number 13 in the league. And I was like, man, okay. I had to do some, and since I didn't understand the ranking, I did some deep diving. And I said, okay, so let me look at this matchup a little bit. Well, when you start looking at it, NC State is 4-11 against the spread in the last 15 road games. Yes, the favored team, the big dog, is going to be on the road at East Carolina in this matchup. East Carolina on the flip side, 8-2 against the spread, and the last 10 games at double-digit underdogs. Look at that, 11.5, double digits. East Carolina is also 3-1 against the spread. Heck, they are 3-1 straight up in their last 4 meetings against NC State. Again, I love historical trends when it all comes together. We're getting double digits. We're going to take the home dog in this one, and we're getting and they've always favored against NC State in the past. They're not scared of them. So hey, I'm taking the 11.5 of the home dog, and I think they're going to surprise some teams. I think we're going to see East Carolina a little bit better this year. NC State coming down a little from last year. I think they might, and even if they aren't, I think they could be a little rusty. It's always hard going on the road that first game and trying to, you might get that adrenaline, but it drops quickly as a road team.
All right. Another excellent one, calculator. Good job there. Okay, this matchup coming up now. Man, this is going to have a lot of eyes on it, especially in this part of the country. And that's the cross country matchup here. The Oregon Ducks are traveling across the country to Atlanta, Georgia, to battle the University of Georgia Bulldogs.
Yes, big primetime matchup, 7 p.m. Yours truly will be watching it with a bucket of wings and a box of nachos, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, 17 points is a lot of points. I understand that. In Oregon, you look at that, man, they're number 11 team in the country. Listen, Georgia, they are a retooling team. Last 5 years have had a top 3 recruiting class. So these guys, they don't rebuild. They retool. They are in Alabama mode now, right? To just keep, they had one of the historical best defenses in the league last year. Had 6 people drafted, 5 of them in the first round. So, but the guys behind them, if you remember, the reason they were so dominant is because their reserves were almost as good as the starters, because that's just what Georgia was. All right. So let's look at the trends in this one, right? Oregon is 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 AP ranked matchups. In other words, they're not very good against the spread when they're playing other teams in the top 5. Georgia is number 3, right? All right. Georgia, on the other hand, is 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games against non-conference ranked opponents. Okay, fits this bill, right? And then let's go back at the Oregon. Oregon is 1-4 against the spread, last 5 as an underdog of more than 14 or more points. So again, all these trends tend to go towards Georgia. So it's like, okay, I like the trends. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Hey, the reason it's so high, playing in the Benz favors Georgia. It's almost like a home game to them. They play there pretty much every year. SEC championship, Sugar Bowl, or not Sugar Bowl, I'm sorry, national championship that one time when it was in the Benz. So they play often in Atlanta. And it's only an hour and a half, 2 hour drive from Athens. So they're going to have the home crowd, backing them up. On the flip side, Oregon is not a home away from home for Oregon. They're clear cross country, right? Going to have to go there. I like the Bulldogs going against a travel weary team. Bulldogs, they're going to have the superior athlete pretty much. They're going to have a edge pretty much at every position except quarterback. However, the one thing our quarterback does have is experience. Heck, he won the national championship last year, so he's back. So I really like the Bulldogs. I think the defense is going to be smothering, and I think Georgia, should be in the 30s by this is all. And I don't think there's no way that defense is going to give up 2 touchdowns. So if I'm only giving up 17 points for the Bulldogs, basically at home against a team coming across country, I'm going to take the Bulldogs. I'm going to swallow the 17 on this one.
Yeah, man, and that's 17, man. That's an interesting number to have there, especially when
Yeah.
you have a number 11 versus a number 3 kicking off the season.
Yeah, and you look at that, it's like, oh man, that's a big spread. But when you look deep into the numbers, historically speaking, Oregon does not favor against top 5 teams. If you remember their last time Oregon did well was when they played another SEC opponent. It was Auburn. Remember that was Herbert's senior year. They had one of the best offensive lines in the country, and they still wound up losing to Auburn to a close game. And let me tell you, that was a far superior Oregon team this year, and Georgia is a lot better than that Auburn team. Auburn had a freshman quarterback that year as well. So I really like the Georgia Bulldogs to kind of start the season off right.
All right. Well, a team that did play Georgia in Atlanta not too long ago was the Cincinnati Bearcats, and they did play Auburn, I believe. It was playing one of the SEC teams, and it was in Atlanta. But Cincinnati is playing another SEC team,
Mm-hmm.
and the number 19 Arkansas Razorbacks. So what gains your interest in this matchup?
What's interesting about this matchup, first of all, again, it's 2 top 25 teams in the AP, right? You got Cincinnati. Okay, they're coming back. They one of the best quarterbacks to ever come through Cincinnati is no longer there. Arkansas looks like they've rebounded. They got the coach. They got that has instilled a offensive line mindset. They want to dominate both sides of the thing. However, when you look at it, let's look at Cincinnati as an underdog. They are 4-1 against the spread when they are the underdog because Arkansas is favored by 6 points in this one. Cincinnati is also 8-2 against the spread against the last 10 ranked opponents. Well, hey, Arkansas is ranked in the top 25, right? So I'm getting 6 points. And when you look at the line has actually been trending upwards. In other words, it opened up as Arkansas was -4.5. Well, now they're -6. So a lot of people are looking at this and saying, "Oh, I think they're underestimating Cincinnati a little bit, putting a little too much reading into a quarterback because that quarterback he's learned behind Riddler, right? So he knows the system. He's been there a while, and I think based on historical trends, Cincinnati should fare well in this particular matchup. I think their defense, Cincinnati does have a top-notch defense for one of those non-power 5 type schools, right? And I think if it's anything over a field goal, I would feel comfortable because I think this is going to be a close game, even though it's at Arkansas. Cincinnati, the coach, I mean, they pretty much travel well. They have. I mean, last year they were road warriors as well, right? So and actually, I'm going to tell people don't bet on wait a little bit to kick off because if this gets anywhere near real time, Mr. 41, I just got an update. 6.5 now. So I'm telling you, it's moving upward. People, wait. I think that could move into the touchdown territory. If you get 7 points, you're going to get a touchdown for a Cincinnati. Still, yes, they lost their quarterback, but I think they still have a lot of veterans. They have a good, solid defense to keep them within the game. Arkansas is not known for blowing teams out pretty much. So even though Arkansas, I think, will win this game at home, I think it's going to be more of the 3-4. Anything over that, I feel comfortable taking Cincinnati and the points. So right now, it's 6.5. That's right. So take a Cincinnati. Hey, if you want to wait a little bit longer, right before kickoff is at 3:30. We said it. Hey, around 3:00, see if that thing's hit 7. As soon as it hits 7, you might want to put your money because the other sharps might start laying the money on Cincinnati once it hits that magic number of 7.
Yeah, very good. All right, that's a interesting game there. That's a great game to tune into.
And I love looking at line movements. If I like a team and it's going the other way, that could be saying, "Oh man, I'm going against the wise guys." No, the wise guys already have their money. They have money on the games a lot of times when the lines come out. If it's moving like this, that means the average Joe is betting that line up.
All right, just a reminder that 6 is 6.5 now.
That's right. It moved while we were on the air, Mr. 411.
Yes, sir. All right. So take the 6.5 there for Cincy. Next matchup, calculator. Team out of Philadelphia, my dad hometown.
Troy. You had Philadelphia?
No, I'm sorry, Troy.
I'm going to say Troy, Alabama.
Well, no. He graduated from Troy as well, so
Oh, I
that's
got you. That's
yeah.
fine. I'm about to say I was kind of saying, man, I was you had me a little flustered there, Mr. 411, but no,
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 calculator.
no. Hey, Troy at Ole Miss. Hey, this isn't your well, I wouldn't say your granddad, your dad's Troy, where they have a couple of NFL prospects on the team. Troy's they've been in a little decline since Spears left and got drafted by the Cowboys. They kind of went on a downward trend. But yeah, that's why that line is Ole Miss minus 21.5. And I know people are going to say, man, that is that's a big line. But you know what? We saw a fairly big line last year with a better Louisville team beating, playing Ole Miss, and Ole Miss just came out and took them to the woodshell. I'm telling you, Troy is 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 as an underdog. That's not good. Troy is 1-4 against the spread. Last 5 on the road. They're on the road. On the flip side, Ole Miss is 6-1 against the spread as a double-digit favorite. Hey, they whipped up on Louisville last year, opening game. Lane Kiffin, he doesn't take his. Yeah, you can say calculator. Matt Corral's laughed for the NFL. I say, hey, Lane Kiffin had plenty of quarterbacks in the cupboard, and he's going to have this guy ready for opening day. And you know, Lane Kiffin likes to make a statement in opening day. That's just that's how he is, and that's why I like betting coaches with big EOs that knows offense opening day against an inferior opponent. Take the Ole Miss, swallow the 21.5 points, because I think this could get. I think they're going to win by 4 touchdowns in this one. They could get 21 by halftime.
Oh yeah, high-powered offense there.
Yeah.
In Ole Miss.
Yep.
All right. We got something else coming up. Calculator, real special here. You know what time it is.
Oh yeah.
You already know what it is, calculator.
I know what it is.
You already know.
Big win. Epic win.
Come on, man. It's jackpot time, calculator.
Jackpot time. Line up the pockets. 4 o'clock. And BYU at the South Florida Bulldogs. Okay, this has all the historical trends are pointing to the one that the calculator is going, right? Okay, BYU. Love BYU. However, they are 1-4 against the spread, and the last 5 is road favorites. So yeah, a lot of times they might win on the road, but not when they're favored, right? So 1-4 is not good, right? On the flip side, let's look at all the positive things for South Florida. South Florida, 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 as a home underdog. South Florida is 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 as double-digit underdogs. It's minus 12, folks. South Florida is 5-0 against the spread and 5 against ranked opponents, and BYU is coming in just ranked at 25. So, that was kind of interesting. So, yeah, we're getting 12 points. BYU, I just pointed out, not good as a favorite on the road. Well, guess what? Not only are they on the road, they're, again, cross country. And let me tell you, the air out in Utah is a lot different than the September air in Florida. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. And BYU is not going to be ready for this game. Yeah, South Florida is not the normal powerhouses that it had been in the past few years. But I love the historical trends on this one. I love them getting double-digit points. I love them to keep it close, especially even if BYU, pulls away at the end with a late touchdown. I think it'll still be close enough that touchdown is not going to be won because we're getting 12 points. Again, 4-1 against the spread as double-digit underdogs for South Florida, and BYU is 1-4 on the other side as a road favorite. Both those, you can't get this is like the perfect storm, and that's why we went South Florida plus 12 as our jackpot pick.
Bingo, the jackpot pick, South Florida Bulls. Mm-hmm. All right, calculator, we got a new segment this season.
Got it.
And
Save the best
you
for
use this
last.
term a lot.
Best for last. Yeah.
You use this term a lot, and it's one of your pet peeves. And we talked about it in a production meeting, and how we was going to bring in a new season with a new segment. And here it is, calculator.
That's
The
right.
smelly line.
Yeah, what are you? What? What did he say, Mister 411? Can you
If
smell?
you smell what the rock is cooking,
That's right. I was waiting for you to say it, sir. But yeah, yeah. Okay, for the people that are new to the show, we came up with a term where something seems too good to be true, so we term that the smelly line, right? Okay, you got the number 7 Utah at Florida. So at first glance, you think number 17 at the Florida Gators, but for people that watch football, it's like, oh, the Florida Gators are unranked. Then you start looking, they had a bad game. But when is the last time the Florida Gators have been an underdog against a non-conference opponent in the swamp on opening weekend? It's been a long time. Yes, Florida is 1-4 against the spread. Last preseason openers against AP opponent. Yeah, that's not good. But guess what? Utah is 1-9 against the spread in 10 games in the month of September. Utah does not start off the year early. And however, guess what? We talked about how long it's been. Florida is 4-1 against the spread as a home underdog since 2017. So, hey, since 2017, not just a home underdog, that includes SEC opponents too. So, hey, yeah, Vegas is going to get me because this line, yes, it's smelly, but I'm going in. I'm pulling the smelling salts, trying to get me open because I'm telling you, I got to take the SEC opponent at +3. Smelly line or not, I can't pass up the Gators getting 3 points in the swamp against the team, again, cross country. We talked about Utah air and Florida air, right? It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be hot and humid, right? Yeah. Well, it's not going to be that hot and humid because it's a primetime game, but still 7 o'clock. It still gets humid in Florida at 7 o'clock. Sun don't go down to 8:30 down there in Florida at this time of year, right? The Gators/SEC will prevail straight up. I'm calling for the outright win, Mr.
yeah,
4-1 against Utah. And why Florida, yeah, if the book wants to give me 3 points, I'll take 3 points. I'm not gonna, but heck, if you looked at it, I mean, I could take it straight up, and I think you're getting like plus 220 for it. Meaning you could bet 10, get 20 for it for a 3-point line, or I think it's plus 120. My bad, so it's like 1250, or 120, $120 if you bet 100. But anyways, I can't pass it up. We'll talk about this next week. I'm sure when the smelly line comes up, we'll see if the smelly line got the calculator this time. I'm going to throw this out to a longtime listener named Bo. He's the one that said, "Hey, calculator, look at this. Is this a smelly line?" He did this 2 weeks ago when this line came out. I said, you know what? That does. When I started looking at it, that is a smelly line. So I
that's
said,
right.
I have to throw it out there. Our good listener, Bo, pointed the smelly line when it came out. So, but hey, I love an SEC team at home getting points in an open matchup against a non-conference opponent. Yes, I'd have more reservations if I don't care how highly ranked this Utah team is. I haven't seen nothing from Utah yet, right? So, but yeah, I'm going to take the Gators in this one and see if Vegas punches me in the nose for going against them in the smelly line.
Yeah. All right. Love it, calculator. Great job there. All right, those are 7 great matchups there to take to account for, and win your friendly wagers this week.
That's right. And the reason we like to do an odd number on this show is we want people that, you have to at least, you have to do more than break even. I think it's like a 54% to break even. So if you can get just above that 54%, that's when people can actually make a living on that. But that's why we try to do an uneven match so that we don't want to break even. We're going to try and get you above 500. If you win 4 out of 7, that means you won the week for your bankroll.
Exactly. And look, and to get some more information like this for the calculator, hit that like, subscribe, and hit that notification button.
And Mr. 4-1, we want that notification because we try to give you lines as we see it. So, hey, if there's a favorable line out there, we're going to tell you I'll tell you if I see movement. So the sooner you get this information, the sooner you can make a decision. If you want to wait, like I'm advising you to wait on that one line that moved to 6.5 already. If you're going to go with the other way, try and get as many points as you can. However, if you think a line might move the other way, you want to jump on the line as quick as you can. And that's one of the things I try to bring to the people is if there's a line movement going on, to keep an eye on that, because you always want the best line.
Yes, sir. And if you don't know how to do it, take a look at this.
Oh yeah.
All
Hey,
right.
I gotta give the producers credit, Mr. 411. I don't know if you increasing the payroll for those jokers, but they coming up with some good stuff.
Well, look, calculate. It's from all those winnings, man. All those friendly wagers. Uh,
Hey, hey,
being victorious by
if
watching the
that's right.
calculator.
Well, if people took our advice, we said it before the season going to start. Take the Bulldogs. They were getting some good money. They were getting some good odds before that Clemson game. And if all you had to bet was $100, and you came out with $5,000. So hey, that's what we do. Because put it this way, by the time they got to the SEC championship, they were actually because it was like 7 plus 750. So actually, you'd bet 100 win 750. I was being a little exaggerate, but by the time the SEC championship game came up, they were already minus 110. So you weren't getting bang for your buck. That's why we try to like, subscribe, notify, get if we have futures out there, we're throwing out there. And just before we leave, another friend of the show. Dr. Sachs, he was talking about Texas Tech. I looked up the odds for Texas Tech to win the Big 12. They're at 50-1.
Wow.
So he has some good information that, hey, if you like those long shots, that's where you win $5,000 if you bet $100. At a 50-1 to win the Big 12. Hey, I looked at it. Oklahoma's down there. They got a new coaching change. Texas, they're looking at going to the SEC next year. They could be looking ahead. Texas Tech's right. It is right for the taking this year. So if you can get a 50-1 on the good vibes coming out of Texas Tech, hey, you might want to do a little looky look out there. 50-1 for Texas Tech to win the Big 12.
Yes, sir. All right.
And if that hits, we thank Dr. Sachs.
Yes, we thank Dr. Sachs. We need Bo on here too.
Yeah,
but Bo was hard to keep up with. But Bo loves to drop those nuggets and then disappear. But we're gonna catch Bo one of these days.
We're gonna catch him.
He was at our fantasy draft last night.
He was. You would have thought he was drafting with he couldn't have been drafted because he was commenting too much in the comment section.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have been able to draft.
Oh yeah, but we got to catch Professor Sachs. He said he wants to join on Crossing the Lines and maybe 2 episodes from now. So we'll get him on. We'll get him on board.
Well, he does a lot of traveling, so it is hard to nail him down.
That's right. All right, calculator. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We'll be back next week. Same place, same time.
That's right.
Crossing the Lines.
Dropping the information.
All right. Well, he's the calculator. I'm Mr. 411. We thank you all for watching and listening. Tune in tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for After the Game. We're out.
See ya.